In the chaos of World War II, soldiers faced not only enemy fire, but another equally deadly adversary: hunger. Supply lines were broken, rations spoiled, and men often fought for days without a hot meal. Yet, out of necessity and sheer military ingenuity, one food emerged that could survive almost anything: the legendary D Ration bar. It was so durable that it could outlast other foods, survive extreme temperatures, and remain edible years after being made. This wasn't your average chocolate bar. It was a survival tool, a weapon of endurance disguised as a bitter slab of cocoa, sugar, and grit. Today, we're diving deep into the story of the World War II ration bar that refused to die. How it was made, why it mattered, and what we can still learn from it in our modern world of comfort and convenience. The D Ration bar was born out of desperation and brilliance. When the United States Army Quartermaster Corps realized that traditional field food couldn't meet the brutal demands of war, they turned to the Hershey Chocolate Corporation in 1937 with a challenge. They needed a compact, lightweight, non-melting, high-calorie emergency ration, something that could fit in a soldier's pocket and keep him alive under the harshest conditions. But there was a catch. It couldn't taste too good. If it did, soldiers might eat it too soon instead of saving it for emergencies. Enter food chemist Captain Paul Logan and Hershey's chief chemist Sam Hinkle. Together, they developed what became the D Ration bar. A 4-ounce block of semi-sweet chocolate fortified with oat flour, sugar, cacao fat, and artificial flavoring. It contained about 600 calories and was so dense that soldiers joked it could stop a bullet. Yet, it was never meant to be delicious. In fact, it was intentionally designed to be hard to chew and taste only slightly better than a boiled potato peel. Its purpose wasn't pleasure, it was survival. The D Ration's durability was its most remarkable feature. Ordinary chocolate melts around 86 degrees Fahrenheit, but the D Ration could withstand up to 120 degrees, meaning it wouldn't liquefy inside a soldier's pack in the desert or jungle. The secret lay in its low sugar and high fat content, along with a special tempering process that made it rock solid. These bars were so tough that soldiers often shaved pieces off with a knife or dissolved them in boiling water to make a kind of bitter cocoa drink. Reports from the field revealed that D Ration bars survived bombings, monsoon rains, freezing winters, and even months of storage in tropical climates. In comparison, many canned or fresh rations spoiled or exploded under pressure. The D Ration's resilience became a symbol of wartime practicality: ugly, hard and unyielding, but utterly reliable. Even decades later, unopened D Rations have been found in abandoned depots or private collections, still intact, still recognizable. Although eating one today would be ill-advised, their condition is proof of how well-engineered they were. Few wartime foods, or modern snacks for that matter, could last that long without refrigeration or preservatives. Beyond survival, the D Ration bar carried a psychological purpose. It reminded soldiers of home. Even though it tasted, well, rather harsh, the simple presence of something labelled chocolate had real morale value. Soldiers reported that just knowing they had a small piece of sweetness tucked away could provide comfort during the darkest moments of combat. The US military later expanded on this idea with the tropical bar, designed for the Pacific theatre. It was lighter, more palatable, and could withstand up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Over 380 million of these were produced by the end of the war. Both versions represented more than calories. They were a bridge between home and the battlefield, between despair and determination. For survivalists and modern preppers, the D Ration bar holds timeless lessons. First, it shows the power of practicality over preference. The best survival foods aren't about taste. They're about endurance, density, and portability. In an emergency kit, what matters most is longevity and nutrient value. You can apply this principle today by creating your own modern D ration. Combine calorie-dense ingredients such as peanut butter powder, oats, cocoa, sugar, and coconut oil. Compress them tightly in a mold and bake or dehydrate until hard. Wrapped properly, they can last for years. They won't win culinary awards, but when stored in a bug-out bag or camping pack, they might just save your life. Secondly, the D ration's history reminds us that innovation often comes from limitation. During World War II, resources were scarce, but necessity forced brilliant solutions. In times of crisis, practicality trumps comfort, a principle that holds true whether you're hiking in the wild or preparing for natural disasters. From the battlefield to the modern pantry, its legacy continues. The influence of the D ration can still be seen in today's military and survival rations. Modern MREs, or meals ready to eat, owe much of their design philosophy to it: compact, long-lasting, and nutritionally complete. Even the energy bars found in supermarkets trace their DNA back to Hershey's wartime laboratories. When you open a protein bar after a workout or pack a meal replacement for travel, you're benefiting from the same concept that fed soldiers in the 1940s. Concentrated energy designed for endurance. It's a quiet legacy that bridges generations, from foxholes to gym bags. The D ration was more than food. It was faith in a small brown wrapper. Every D ration bar told a story of resilience, of soldiers who carried them through freezing Ardennes forests or across burning Pacific beaches. They were a promise that even in the worst conditions, something made by human hands could last, could endure, could sustain life. As we look back, it's worth reflecting that survival is as much mental as it is physical. The D ration bar wasn't delicious, but it symbolized hope, and that perhaps is why it still fascinates historians and survivalists alike. If you enjoyed uncovering the story of the World War II ration bar that refused to die, hit that subscribe button and share this video with fellow history buffs and survival enthusiasts. Here on In the Beginning, we bring forgotten relics of human resilience back to life. Stories that still matter and lessons we can still use. Stay curious, stay prepared, and I'll see you in the next one.